You know what is fascinating about avoidance? They pull away the moment you get close. And most people respond by chasing harder, sending more texts, calling more often, showing up more. And every single time they do that, the avoidant disappears even further, like they were never even there. Here is what nobody tells you. The harder you chase, the less they miss you. But the moment you stop, something shifts. Something changes inside them, and suddenly you become the most interesting person in their world. If you have ever loved someone who runs the moment things get real, this is going to change everything for you. Stay until the end because the fourth point is the one most people never figure out, and it is probably the reason you are still stuck right now. Before we get into this, drop the word avoidant in the comments right now. We are trying to reach 2,000 subscribers, and we are genuinely not close yet. So if this helps you even a little, hit subscribe. It takes 1 second, and it means everything to this channel. Now let us get into this. Let me start by telling you something that is going to sound a little uncomfortable, and I want you to sit with it instead of immediately pushing it away. The reason an avoidant does not miss you is not because they do not have feelings for you. It is because you have never actually given them the space to feel the absence of you. Think about that for a second. Missing someone requires a gap. It requires silence. It requires a moment where your brain reaches for something familiar and finds nothing there. That is what creates longing. That is what creates the ache that makes someone pick up their phone at 2 in the morning and wonder where things went wrong. But if you are always there, always available, always replying within 30 seconds, always making yourself emotionally present even when they are being cold. There is no gap, there is no silence, there is nothing for them to reach for because you have never actually left. And here is the thing about avoidant people specifically. Their entire emotional world is built around one core belief that closeness equals danger. That the more someone wants them, the more trapped and suffocated they feel. This is not something they chose. This is something that was wired into them over years of experiences where being close to someone felt unsafe or overwhelming. So when you chase an avoidant, you are not just annoying them. You are triggering something deep inside them that says, "This is exactly what I was afraid of. Get out, create distance, protect yourself." And they do, every single time. So how do you actually make them miss you? How do you flip that dynamic without playing games, without pretending you do not care, without turning yourself into someone unrecognizable? That is what we are going to talk about today. 4 powerful ways to make an avoidant miss you like crazy. And none of them involve tricks. None of them involve pretending. All of them require something harder than that. They require you to actually do the work on yourself, which is probably not what you wanted to hear, but stay with me because this is where it gets real. The first way is to stop being the emotional safety net. This one is painful to hear, but it is probably the most important thing I am going to say in this entire video. Right now, if you are involved with an avoidant, you are most likely functioning as their emotional safety net. What does that mean? It means they know no matter what they do, no matter how cold they get, no matter how many times they pull away or go silent or send confusing mixed signals, you will be there warm, available, ready to pick up exactly where things left off the moment they decide to come back. And that knowledge, that certainty that you are always going to be there, is exactly what kills any chance of them missing you. Here is a simple way to think about it. Imagine you have a favorite restaurant. It is open 24 hours. It never runs out of your favorite dish. It is always warm, always welcoming, always ready for you whenever you show up. Now tell me, how often do you think about that restaurant when you are busy? How often does it cross your mind? How much do you crave it? Probably not that much, because you know it is always going to be there. Now imagine that same restaurant suddenly has limited hours, or they are closing for a month, or you heard they might be shutting down for good. Suddenly you are thinking about it all the time. Suddenly you want to go there more than anywhere else. Suddenly you realize how much you actually love that place. That is human psychology. That is not a trick. That is just how the mind works. We value things more when we are not certain they will always be available to us. So what does this look like in real life with an avoidant? It means you stop responding immediately every single time. Not because you are playing games, but because you genuinely have a life that you are living, and not every message needs an instant reply. It means you stop filling every silence with a text or a question or an excuse to reach out. It means you stop being the one who always initiates. Let there be a day or two where you simply do not reach out and see what happens. It means that when they do pull away, you do not panic and chase. You let them pull away. You give them the space they seem to desperately want, and then you go and live your life in that space. This is not about punishing them. This is not about sending a message. This is about literally stepping out of the role of emotional safety net so that they actually have to feel the absence of you. So they actually have to experience what life feels like when you are not constantly filling the gaps. And I want to be honest with you here. When you do this, one of two things is going to happen. Either they are going to reach out because they miss you, or they are going to not reach out, and you are going to learn something incredibly important about how much you actually mean to them. Both outcomes give you information. Both outcomes are better than staying stuck in the cycle of chasing and being pushed away. The second way is to become someone who genuinely does not need them. I know, you have heard this before. Everyone says become the best version of yourself. Everyone says work on yourself. And it starts to feel like a cliché, like something people say because they do not have a real answer. But here is the difference between what most people do and what actually works. Most people here become the best version of yourself, and they interpret it as a strategy. They think, okay, I am going to go to the gym and post pictures so they see what they are missing. I am going to go out with friends and make sure they know I am having a good time. I am going to change my appearance and hope they notice. And none of that works because it is all still about them. It is all still orbiting around the avoidant, like everything in your life is a move designed to get their attention. Real growth, the kind that actually creates attraction, is when you start building a life that feels genuinely fulfilling with or without them. When you wake up in the morning and you have things you are excited about that have nothing to do with whether or not they texted you back. When your sense of worth is not determined by how warm or cold they are being on any given day. That kind of energy is completely different. It radiates differently. It feels different to be around. And for an avoidant specifically, it is magnetic. Here is why. Avoidants are deeply drawn to people who do not need them. They are wired to pull back from people who feel too emotionally dependent, too focused on them, too invested in the relationship as their main source of happiness. That pattern activates their avoidance. That is what makes them feel suffocated. But someone who is genuinely living their own life, who has their own passions and goals and friendships, who is happy to spend time with the avoidant but does not fall apart when they go quiet, that is someone the avoidant can actually breathe around. And when they can breathe around you, they stop running. And when they stop running, they start moving toward you instead. This is the paradox at the center of every avoidant dynamic. The more you need them, the more they pull away. The less you need them, the more they want to be close. So the work here is not performative. It is not about creating an illusion of independence. It is about actually investing in your own life. Picking up the thing you put down when the relationship started taking all your energy. Spending real time with people who fill you up. Going after something that makes you feel capable and alive. Building a relationship with yourself that does not depend on anyone else to validate it. When you do that, something changes in the way you carry yourself. An avoidant notices. They always notice. The third way is to make your interactions feel like fresh air rather than pressure. This is the one people miss the most, and it is subtle, but once you understand it, you will never approach an avoidant the same way again. Think about what most interactions with an avoidant look like when someone is trying to draw them closer. There is usually an undercurrent of need running through every single conversation. There is a question hiding beneath every question, which is, are we all right? Do you still care about me? Where is all of this going? What exactly are we doing? And the avoidant feels all of that, even when it is never actually said out loud. They are extraordinarily good at picking up on emotional pressure. It is almost like a sixth sense they carry around with them. And the moment they feel that pressure in any interaction, they begin looking for the exit. So what is the alternative? The alternative is to make every single interaction you have with them feel like relief rather than pressure. Like a breath of fresh air rather than a heavy weight. Like something they genuinely look forward to rather than something they have to brace themselves for. What does that actually look like in real life? It means when you reach out, you are not reaching out from a place of anxiety. You are not crafting a text for 30 minutes trying to word it just right so they do not pull away. You are simply sharing something funny you came across, or asking a genuinely curious question about something they brought up last week, or sending a voice note that sounds light and easy because you are light and easy right now. It means when you are together in person, you are not dragging the relationship into every single conversation. You are not hunting for reassurance. You are not picking apart their every word, searching for some hidden meaning. You are simply being present, being engaged, being someone who is genuinely interesting and also genuinely interested. It means you are not treating every moment spent together like it could be the very last one. That energy of desperation, that grabbing energy, that please do not go energy, is like poison to an avoidant. It confirms every single fear they have ever had about getting close to someone. It tells them loud and clear, this is exactly what I was so afraid of. But when you walk into a room and you are simply yourself, warm and steady and not needing anything from the interaction to turn out a certain way, the avoidant can finally breathe. And when they are able to relax around you, something truly remarkable begins to happen. They start connecting you with safety, with ease, with freedom, with all the things their nervous system is constantly searching and reaching for. And when someone becomes linked with those kinds of feelings inside an avoidant mind, that person becomes someone they genuinely want to be around. Not someone they feel forced to face, not someone who triggers all their defenses, but someone they actually seek out on their own. That is a completely different kind of relationship, and it all begins with you making the decision that you are going to stop bringing pressure into your interactions and start bringing real presence instead. This takes a lot of practice because if you are anxious in this kind of dynamic, your nervous system is going to keep pushing you toward reassurance. It is going to want to manufacture certainty wherever it can. It is going to keep nudging you toward those pressure-heavy conversations and those loaded texts. And every single time you resist that urge and choose lightness instead, you are rewiring both your own nervous system and the entire dynamic between the two of you. It is not easy at all. But nothing about loving an avoidant is easy. You already know that better than anyone. The fourth way is the one most people never actually figure out, and it is the exact reason so many people stay completely stuck in this painful cycle for years and years on end. The fourth way is to stop trying to make them miss you and start genuinely putting in the work to become secure within yourself. I know that might sound like I am pulling the rug right out from under everything that was just said, but stay with me here. Here is the honest truth. Everything covered in the first 3 points only truly works if this fourth thing is also happening at the same time. Because without it, you are simply performing. You are just going through the motions of an independent, secure person, while deep underneath, you are still anxious and desperate and checking their social media every single hour and reading deep meaning into the length of their replies. And avoidance sees straight through that every single time without fail. The real shift, the one that genuinely changes everything, happens when you begin doing the actual inner work of becoming a securely attached person yourself. Now, what does that actually mean? It means understanding why this specific person who pulls away and creates so much uncertainty and remains emotionally unavailable feels so incredibly compelling to you. Because here is something that is genuinely hard to sit with. Anxious people are almost magnetically pulled toward avoidant people. Not because they are foolish or naive or in any way weak, but because the avoidant pattern of pulling away activates something deeply familiar inside them, something that started long before this relationship ever came into the picture. Maybe you grew up having to work hard just to feel loved. Maybe the people who were meant to be emotionally present for you were inconsistent and unpredictable. Maybe you learned very early on that love was something you had to earn over and over again, that you had to be careful about needing too much, that closeness always came attached to conditions. And now here stands someone who recreates that exact same dynamic all over again. And your nervous system says, this feels familiar. This is what love is supposed to feel like. I have to work for this one. I have to earn my place here. I have to be careful not to need too much. And you get completely stuck in the chase because the chase itself feels like love, even though real love is not supposed to feel anything like a chase at all. Becoming secure means learning to actually recognize that pattern for what it is. It means doing the real work, whether that is therapy or journaling or reading or finding a community or all of those things together, to understand where your attachment wounds originally came from and to start healing them at the very root, rather than just trying to manage the symptoms on the surface. It means practicing the ability to sit with uncertainty without falling into a spiral. Letting someone go quiet without immediately assuming the absolute worst. Being able to honestly say, I do not know where any of this is going, and I am still okay right here in this moment, even with all of that uncertainty hanging in the air. It means setting real boundaries, not as some clever strategy to make them chase after you, but because you genuinely value yourself and your time and your energy, and you are no longer willing to pour yourself endlessly into someone who is simply not showing up for you in return. Here is the thing about real security. When you genuinely become secure from the inside out, one of two things will happen. Either the avoidant senses the change in you and begins showing up in a completely different way because you are no longer playing the role that kept the old familiar dynamic alive. You have changed the entire dance, and so they are forced to change their steps along with you. Or you become secure enough to see with complete clarity that this person is not meeting your needs and is not actually capable of doing so. And you make a clear and honest decision to walk away, not out of heartbreak, not out of reaction, but from a deep and solid place of self-respect. And both of those results are infinitely better than wherever you are sitting right now. The cruelest thing about the anxious-avoidant dynamic is that it can drag on for years. It can quietly eat years right out of your life. The inconsistency, the hot and cold, the moments of beautiful closeness immediately followed by cold and heavy silence, the endless wondering, the endless hoping, the endless adjusting of yourself as you try to find the magic formula that will finally make them stay and choose you. There is no magic formula anywhere. There is only you arriving at the decision that you deserve real consistency in your life. You deserve someone who can actually meet you emotionally where you are. You deserve a relationship where love does not feel like a test you are constantly failing, no matter how hard you try. And the moment you truly believe that, the moment it stops being something you simply say and becomes something you feel deep in your bones, everything around you begins to shift. Your energy shifts. What you are willing to tolerate shifts. What you allow into your life and your heart shifts completely. And the avoidant, if they have any real capacity to grow and change, will feel that shift inside you and respond to it in a way they have never responded before. So let me bring all of this together for you in one place. If you want an avoidant to miss you, stop being their emotional safety net that is always there no matter what. Remove the certainty of your constant presence and let them actually experience what life feels like when you are not always waiting there. Become someone who genuinely does not need them, not as a performance for their benefit, but as a real and honest investment in your own life, your own joy, your own deep sense of who you are. Make your interactions feel like oxygen rather than pressure. Show up as someone they truly want to be around, rather than someone they are quietly dreading. And do the deep and honest inner work of becoming secure within yourself, because without this piece, everything else is just surface level. These 4 things work together as one. They are not separate strategies you can pick and choose between. They are 4 sides of the same fundamental shift, which is the shift from someone who quietly orbits an avoidant, hoping to finally be chosen, to someone who is so genuinely grounded and full and alive that the avoidant begins orbiting them instead, without even fully realizing it. And I want to leave you with this one final thought. You did not end up in this situation because you are weak in any way. You ended up here because you carry an enormous capacity for love, and you directed all of that love towards someone who simply did not know how to receive it. That is not a flaw in you. That is actually a beautiful gift. But it is a gift that deserves to go somewhere it can genuinely be appreciated, somewhere it can actually land, somewhere it has the room to grow into something real. The avoidant may or may not be that person for you. Time and your own growth will eventually show you which one is true. But what can be said with absolute certainty is that the version of you who has done this work, who has become secure within themselves, who has built a real and full life, who knows their own worth without needing anyone else to confirm it, that version of you is completely and utterly irresistible. Not just to an avoidant, but to every single person who crosses their path. And more importantly than any of that version of you is genuinely happy, deeply and solidly happy, not dependent in any way on whether someone with avoidant attachment decides to send a text back. That is the real goal at the end of all of this. Not to win some kind of game, not to make someone chase after you, but to become someone who simply does not need to play games at all anymore. Drop avoidant in the comments if any of this truly landed for you today. Share it with someone in your life who really needs to hear it right now. And if you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that. We are working toward 2,000 subscribers, and we genuinely need your support to reach that goal. Every single subscriber matters far more than you know. Thank you so much for being here. And always remember, the love you keep trying to pull out of someone else already lives inside of you. Go find it there first.